You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at U.S. Cellular, exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, U.S. Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_daddy. So on the agenda for today, I want to get caught up on some news and notes. There's a lot of stuff I've been saving that we haven't talked about because we've been doing all this deep divey stuff, which I love doing. But, I'm out of ideas. I mean, I do have two more. One of them I'm trying to work on. The heck was this? Was it Nate that called in about this? Or was it Kyle from Madison? I don't remember. I believe it was one of the two. I'm working on it, though. The whole thing of, has anybody ever had a streak of, I think he said 18-1. I went and checked it. I think if you include playoffs, maybe it was like 20 or 23 touchdowns, one pick. I don't know. But I'm still working on that. Some of this, it's really just a matter of trying to find a way to get this data to work. I feel like I'm getting close, but I don't have it yet. So we'll keep that bad boy in our back pocket. There's also, I had a small conversation about with JJ about the offseason. We may talk about it a little bit today, see if we can kind of get the gears turning. Vikings fan, well, you know what? Let's start with it. We got a pile of crap to go through. Why don't we start with this and just see if it sparks anything? So this is from Purple FTW. We've talked about him before. Way far to the end of the spectrum in terms of homerism, which, it is what it is. That every, fan how you want to fan. It's just important to know where he falls on the spectrum. No pun intended. Oh, no. That might get me in trouble. All right. Anyways. Whew. All right. Purple FTW podcast. By the way, I also want to mention he is a hardcore pro Kirk Cousins guy, or at least was. All right, here we go. He says, saying the Vikings had the fourth worst offseason in the NFL, even though they extended Jefferson long-term, let Kurt and Daniil walk, signed a stellar group of complimentary free agents at positions of need, secured quarterback of the future and potentially the best edge rusher in the class at 17, didn't give up a future first in either trade, cleared massive amount of cap space in 2025 and beyond. You're either stupid or a liar. All right, so the main question is, how do you actually quantify who had the best offseason? Because I know this is all gut feeling stuff when people put together articles. And I'm certainly not agreeing that the Vikings had the fourth worst, but I didn't even look at it. For all I know, they had the worst, although I would be hard-pressed to imagine anything worse than what the Bears did. It's just the dumbest pile of crap I've ever seen. But, I mean, so that's kind of the question of how would we go about doing that. But let's just go through a couple of these because, first of all, everybody did stuff. This is just a collection of stuff, some of which you could argue is not super great. Extended Justin Jefferson long-term. Who gives a crap? I'm sorry, but when the Packers extend Jordan Love, when he finally gets his contract, that's not like a big win for the Packers as far as like, oh, they crushed the offseason. That's just doing that's 101. You have a star. Give him lots of money. Done. Like, that's what everybody does. Like I've talked about with a few of these things, it's less to do with if you do it, you're a genius, and has more to do with if you don't do it, you're a moron. You can't gain points, you can only lose points. If the Vikings let Jefferson walk because they couldn't come up with a deal, that is minus 1 billion points. Don't worry about the point system. I haven't fully fleshed it out yet. I've been working on it for 8 seconds. If the Packers can't get a deal done with Jordan Love, it's minus 1 billion points. Get a deal done. They let Kurt and Daniil walk. I don't know where this is coming from as far as being a net positive. Now, he says Kurt. I'm assuming he means Kirk, like that old joke, which is weird because, again, he's been a huge Kirk Cousins guy. Now, all of a sudden, it's Kurt. But whatever. I guess I understand it in terms of it had to happen at some point. So we're kind of, again, just looking at due diligence, and it's something that should have been done a long time ago. So I don't know that it's a massive positive. And also, your team is going to get worse, even if maybe that was the right thing. But Daniil Hunter? Why does he need to go? I never understood. Like, the Vikings are so weird to me. You look at the Vikings all the time, and it's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, everybody can see the problems. I think even Vikings fans can see it, like Kirk Cousins. Like, we have to move on. Let's just give him one more fully guaranteed year because I don't know what we're doing. It's like the biggest problem feels like with the Vikings is they do not think long term. And so they come up on a thing, and it's like, oh, shoot, we didn't have a plan. What do we do? Well, let's just keep paying these guys that are really, 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 really old. Now, they've mostly fleshed those guys out, with the exception of their safety, blanking on his name. Finally got rid of Kirk Cousins. But this is stuff that should have been done a long time ago. Or don't do it. Kirk Cousins is still a good quarterback. Maybe actually, maybe actually work on a long-term contract. I don't know. I don't know what you need to do. But it doesn't seem like you do either. And I don't know why it seems like they've been pushing Daniil Hunter out the door forever. And it's also funny because we've been hearing for a long time, like all these rumors, like Daniil might actually go. And it's like, there's no way. It's crazy. Like, but you keep hearing it. And it's like, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's like, no, it can't actually be a real thing. And then when Daniil finally walks, it's like, what? You got rid of Daniil? And it's like, see, brilliant offseason. We did it. We got rid of him. Like, wait a minute. Can we back up a second? This guy's been a top pass rusher for I don't know how long, and it just feels like the Vikings have been just dying to get... They just hate everybody. Like, just get this freaking guy out of here. I don't know what to do with him, man. I just get Kirk Cousins and Daniil Hunter out of here. I don't care. It's a good thing they like Justin Jefferson for their sake, because I don't know. At what point are they going to start pushing him out? I have a hard time putting my finger on all this stuff. And it's like, well, he's expensive. Yeah. All superstars are expensive. Who else you got to pay? Justin Jefferson? So what? You currently don't have a quarterback. You have nobody that needs to be paid on this team except Justin Jefferson. That's it. And it's like, well, that's it. That's it. We're not paying anybody else. Daniil, you got to go. Freaking okay. Signed a stellar group of complimentary. I'm not even going to look at it. I don't care. That's such a boring thing to say. Everybody signed pieces in free agency that are complimentary, blah, blah, blah. Secured a quarterback of the future. You don't know that, but you did draft a quarterback. We'll see how it goes. And potentially the best edge rusher in the class at 17. How does the best edge rusher fall to 17? Probably because he's not very good. I shouldn't say not very good, but he's not. You're acting like you got a top 5 player. If a premier position player falls all the way to 17, I mean, it just tells. Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness went earlier than that. They weren't first, but they went earlier. You know why? Because they're better prospects. And again, like this whole thing about, well, we took the guy that was in our lap, and now I want you to applaud me. I'm not applauding the Bears for getting Caleb Williams. I'm not applauding I mean, listen, I actually think things fell really well for the Vikings, and they were wise to stay put as opposed to being too aggressive because things ended up falling. So being patient actually did work out where it could have blown up in their face. So I'll give them kudos for that. But all you did was take the best player sitting in your lap. I mean, potentially, we'll see how good they actually are. I have no idea. Didn't give up a future first in either trade. I mean, that's solid aside from the fact that you gave up ridiculous value. The value you did give up, you can call it a first, a second, or whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. The total value you guys paid was stupid. The trades you made sucked massively. And then cleared massive amount of cap space in 2025 and beyond. Bro, everybody did that. Everybody's rich in 2025. We've been over this. So I just, maybe they had a great offseason. Maybe it was a bad offseason. I don't know. I don't know what the criteria would be, but this is so boring to me. Like, who didn't do this stuff? Who didn't, quote unquote, improve their team? Who didn't clear cap space? The Packers cleared cap space. The Packers added an entire coaching staff. The Packers brought back key players. The Packers added important positions of need in the draft. They went from maybe the worst safety group to maybe one of the best safety. Like, anybody can do this stupid crap. They got younger at running back while not getting worse. They added a first-round pick at offensive tackle in free agency. I can twist words, too, to make stuff sound cool. Here's the bottom line, though. The Vikings are going to suck real bad. Real bad. Maybe not in 2025. I don't know. Probably, if I had to guess, they would. But 2024 is going to be a really bad year. So let's not start getting all stupid about trying to go out and get trophies. I think the Vikings, at best, did what was necessary. They did what was long overdue. I think they did it in an inefficient way if you look at the trades that they made, which doesn't speak well to how things are about to go. So, anyways, I've got to think on it. I mean, this is kind of what we're doing right now. We all say stuff, right? Had a good offseason, number one wide receiver, all this stuff. We say these things. We have no idea what the heck it means. I don't know what it means. You don't know what it means. We all say it. Has anybody ever tried to establish what it means to have a good offseason? I doubt it. I think everybody's content, and maybe this is where I'm stupid. Maybe I should just come on here and trash the Vikings for having a crap offseason, and I should go through what the Packers did and just list all the positives and say, therefore, they had a great offseason. I mean, I kind of do that stuff sometimes when people talk about this player sucks, and I go through and list the positives and just give them the big middle finger. I mean, sometimes it feels good to do that, but I would love to be able to establish what the heck makes a good offseason. Part of the problem is a good offseason isn't established until later on, at least at the end of this year when we can see how all these things panned out. And beyond that, I mean, go back over 3 years. I mean, the better thing to do would be to go back to 2020 and see what the Packers did and reevaluate it. Look at the drafts, look at the free agents, look at all that stuff. But if I'm not doing that because I don't even care, much less anybody else, you feel free to go ahead, but if we did have to create a criteria, if we did have to say who won this offseason this year, I mean, I have to remove, I guess we could try to come up with some metrics, probabilities for free agents. That might even be the most important thing to do. We have a ton for the draft, right, in terms of the value of a position or a certain pick or whatever. Maybe that needs to be done for free agency because there's a lot of misses. And obviously, you can factor in age, and I don't know. I mean, that might be the first thing to do, just to try to do that. Otherwise, you're just kind of looking at process, which is kind of the same thing, right? The process of, for example, the Bears bringing in a 31, 32-year-old wide receiver when you're a very young team trying to just first establish itself. That's bad process, right? I don't know. I don't know that it'll ever be something that I could fully flesh out, but it would be interesting. If you have any thoughts on it, 608-501-0718, give me a call. Anyways, what I wanted to say is that I want to go through the news and notes, and then I want to get to something else that's been kind of hanging out there for a while. Aaron Nagler and Corey Behnke did a sit-down with general manager Brian Gutekunst. So I wanted to be able to go through that and kind of listen to what he had to say. I thought there were some pretty decent insights, obviously about contracts and whatnot, but it's also good to just kind of hear his tone when he talks about things. So we will do that. Why don't we take kind of an early break, because I think that press conference or that interview might take a little bit of extra time, and I still want to get through the last of these few notes that I have. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back. What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at US Cellular exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, US Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Now's the time to save 30% on wedding jewelry, only on BlueNile.com. Make sure your wedding ring is the one with your pick of diamond and lab-grown diamond bands, all hand-finished and graded for excellence. Or surprise her with something blue she'll love for life, like a stunning pair of sapphire earrings. Blue Nile's jewelry experts are available 24/7 to help, from fit questions to style advice. Right now, get up to 30% off at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at Marines.com.
All right, getting into some of the news and notes. Again, some of this is going to be a little bit outdated, but we'll start with this. NFL statement on the Falcons, who received penalties for tampering via Ian Rappaport. The NFL today, this is the 13th, informed the Atlanta Falcons of a discipline being imposed for violations of the anti-tampering policy related to improper contact with prospective unrestricted free agent Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, and Charlie Warner during the two-day negotiating period prior to the start of the 2024 league year. Atlanta will forfeit its original fifth-round pick in 2025 and pay a fine of $250,000, while general manager Terry Fontenot has been fined $50,000. While the policy permits clubs to engage with and negotiate all aspects of an NFL player contract with the certified agent of any prospective unrestricted free agent during the two-day negotiating period, any direct contact between the player and an employee or representative of the club is prohibited. This includes discussion of travel arrangements or other logistical matters, which the club acknowledges took place with regard to these three players. So there's been talk quite a bit about this having taken place. Here's my take on it. The reason that this talk came up is because I believe Kirk Cousins made some comments that kind of made it seem like, well, how could that have possibly happened? My take is this happens probably for just about all 32 teams. There might be some that are like, no, we're not playing that game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers are one of them. I don't know. But this tampering thing, I think, happens all the time. It's understood that it happens all the time. It's just a matter of don't get caught. And when somebody makes a comment that kind of makes it seem like it, then there's going to be an investigation. You're going to get caught, and you're going to get fined. That's my thought on it. But hey, one less pick in the 2025 draft. I think everybody's just forfeiting the 2025 draft. Nobody wants to go. And that's fine, man. We'll just have a party. It's going to be like 40 Packers picks. We're going to slam brats, and everybody's going to be hammered, and we're just going to have a great time. I did want to highlight this comment from Bakhtiari. It's almost timely, as if I could have got this out sooner. Crazy thing about the new deals coming out. It just shows how much money the NFL is making. These teams aren't overpaying. During negotiations, they want to give the illusion to players and fans that they are. Business is booming, and the NFL can hide it in these quarterback deals. It's exactly what I've been trying to say with these quarterback things. When we see these big numbers and think, oh, man, they just broke the bank. No, they didn't. The salary cap has grown so much. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence now is the highest paid quarterback in football, kind of the second highest because he got the same contract as the highest but with slightly less guarantees. But let's just say he is the highest paid quarterback in football. He's clearly not the best. But as we looked at, if you look at it as a percentage of the salary cap, which has exploded, he's the 10th highest paid. So it's like a parlor trick. We're going to make it make it seem like you, the agent, negotiated the highest paid quarterback contract. And the player feels great about being the highest paid quarterback, contract, at least for now, until somebody surpasses, which I'm assuming is going to happen. So anyways, I 100% agree. And it's not just because, things are exploding. I mean, I think that makes it even more so. But this has always been the case. It's always shocking when we see these new big numbers, not really realizing that when you adjust for the increase in salary cap, it's a more reasonable contract. Plus, it's not just that. I mean, again, this is another problem with just APY, because we look at that and go, nobody can just put $55 million on the salary cap. That's critical. That's brutal. Okay, but you got to understand, it's 55 average. And if you put it on a line, it's going to be an increasing line. And that line is going to increase from year one, when it's at its lowest, well below 55, all the way to the end, where it's probably above 55 because it averages out to 55. But those last couple years where it goes well above are like, for example, the last year, there's no guarantees left. So that year's never going to happen. That's a fake year. So if you take off the fake years or the fake money and really average it out, what's the real average? It's going to be lower. And on top of that, there's going to either be an extension or we're just going to eat a little bit of cap and move on from you. So, I mean, the whole thing is a show, really. Don't think I've talked about it yet. Netflix, they have their quarterback series, which is pretty solid. They've also got now a receiver series, which arrives July 10th. This actually looks pretty fantastic. They've got like all the top receivers. They got Justin Jefferson, they got Devontae Adams, they got a few other guys, but looking forward to watching that, as well as the quarterback series. I know Jordan Love is working on something over at Omaha Productions. I don't exactly know what it is, but it seems like there's something going on. So lots of content these days, which is awesome. The off season is pretty brutal. I appreciate you guys for even being here right now, because it's, I've looked back over like 3 days worth of social media and whatnot, and it's just kind of like, yeah, we're talking about basketball, and it's like, oh, good Lord. Soccer and WNBA, and it's like, okay, all right. I guess I'm all alone here. But that should be a pretty fantastic series. In other Netflix news, this is via Ari Mirov. Netflix has been in talks with the league's existing broadcast partners to find a producer for their 2 Christmas games per CNBC. However, other networks may be reluctant to help Netflix, viewing its entry into the live sports business as competition. It also remains unclear who the announcers will be for the 2 Netflix games. The Chiefs-Steelers, Ravens-Texans matchups are 2 games Netflix will broadcast. It's kind of interesting. I never really considered the dynamics of it. You've got the NFL, then you've got the broadcasters. You got, Fox, NBC, ABC. And so they all have to coordinate with these teams. I always just think about it as you got a stadium and then you got all these cameras and stuff. It's not like they just stay there. So Fox would have to come in, and they got to set up their cameras on these cranes. They got to do all this different stuff. They got to coordinate it with the NFL. Where can we go? Where are we allowed to be? You got to coordinate it with the teams, because every team has their own stadiums. Where can we put this camera? You got to set up and tear down every single time. You're not going to use, Fox moves out, and then you got NBC moving in. They're like, hey, can you just leave your cameras there and we'll use them? No, these are our cameras. So you got to pack all that crap up, all the gear, all the replay camera stuff, all that stuff gets set up in the announcer's booth, set up, tore down every single time. Then you get your announcers in there who got to use all your stuff. It's kind of an interesting dynamic, but the bottom line is Netflix now wants to get involved, so they spend $150 million roughly to be able to broadcast the 2024, 2025, and 2026 Christmas seasons. Astonishingly, they pay $150 million. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have cameras. They don't have staff. They don't have people to run the cameras. They don't have all the equipment to set up to run the instant replay and all that. They don't have the infrastructure. So then they have to pay these people who already do this stuff, who already have all the equipment. Presumably, these are the people that were bidding on it and lost. Imagine you're trying to bid and you want the Christmas Day game. Let's say you're CBS, right? You're trying to get Christmas. Netflix beats you, right? They took Christmas from you. Then Netflix turns around. They're like, hey, by the way, can you do all the work for us? and we'll like hire you to do all the work, and we just broadcast. Like, and they're talking about, and again, I don't know how serious this is. I'm sure, because they're going to be able to pay a hefty amount of money. CBS, NBC, Fox, ESPN, whatever. Somebody's going to be willing to do the work. I'm guessing Amazon is already doing this. I'm guessing Amazon doesn't have the infrastructure, but it is kind of interesting. I never really thought about it. Like, if Amazon wanted to broadcast it, broadcast what? It's not the teams that just have cameras set up and Amazon just pulls the feed. Who's going to do all the recording? Who's going to be the announcers? Who's going to do all this stuff? So, anyways, Netflix spent $150 million for 3 years worth of Christmases, so $50 million a year. I think there's only 2 games, so it's like $25 million a game, I guess. Something like that. Maybe there's 3, I don't know. And now they have to go out and pay, NBC or whatever to do all the work just so they can put it on Netflix. It seems like a really inefficient way to do it, and I'm guessing it's a losing proposition. But it's also something that they want to continue to explore because Netflix, like Amazon, is a pretty massive, it's nowhere near Amazon, but it's a pretty massive entity. If they decide it's lucrative, who knows? Maybe they can do a little bit more with it. It just seems stupid to me that you'd spend $150 and you don't have this stuff established. You don't have announcers set up, or broadcasters. You don't have a way of recording it. Why wouldn't you work that out beforehand? I don't know. It seems stupid. Hopefully we have Christmas games broadcast somewhere. Crying out loud. And then finally in the news, I can't help myself. We got to talk a little bit about Justin Fields. First of all, this hilarious article here, written by Josh Carney of Steelers Depot. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, NFL's top battle in training camp, PFF believes. They just can't help themselves, I swear. They cannot help themselves. So first of all, if you haven't been up on podcasts or whatever, we've talked about this a little bit. There just seems to be that, Justin's there. He's like, I'm really competing. Like, this is a real thing, guys. Believe me, trust me. And then we find out from coaches, they're talking about putting him on special teams. They're talking about special packages at the goal line. Nobody's taking this seriously. And Justin Fields is trying desperately to be taken seriously. Everybody knows Russell Wilson's the quarterback. It's a awkward, uncomfortable, and also slightly delicious situation. The article starts, though the Steelers have seemingly made it clear that Wilson is the starter, he entered the offseason in the pole position and did nothing to lose that spot entering training camp. Many believe there will be a true quarterback competition in training camp at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. In fact, Pro Football Focus believes that the potential quarterback battle between the two is the biggest training camp battle in the NFL. Quote, the most high-profile quarterback battle of training camp will take place in the Steel City. The Steelers made 2 low-risk offseason additions in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, each of whom could lead the offense in 2024. PFF's Gordon McGinnis writes, Wilson will turn 36 during the season, and he looks a long way off the player who earned a 90.5 PFF overall grade in 2020. Fields, the 11th overall pick in 2021, couldn't get his feet under him in Chicago, with the team opting to reset by selecting Caleb Williams first overall in the 2024 NFL Draft. Still, Fields has improved in each of the NFL seasons and is coming off a career-high 74.6 PFF overall grade in 2023. First of all, he has not improved every single year by pretty much any metric. By most metrics, he's gotten worse every single year. The only reason he earned a 76.4 grade is because he had an 85 rushing grade. Now, his passing grade was the highest. This is just one metric. His passing grade was the highest that he's ever had, but he hasn't gotten better every single year. Even the passing grade went from a 61 down to a 54 and up to a 67. It went from meh to crap to meh. The only reason he's even sniffing 70 PFF grades is because of his rushing grades, which have been 72, 92, and 85. The article then goes on, and this again is a Steelers site, to kind of ask the question, is there a real competition here? And he goes on to say, that's pretty unlikely. PFF cannot help themselves by pushing this stupid narrative. Oh, by the way, another article, Justin Fields struggles over Steelers offseason program per Pittsburgh beat reporter. So PFF, who has no idea what the heck is going on, makes up some fake thing about this is the top quarterback battle in the entire NFL, which I mean, maybe. What else is out there? J.J. McCarthy, maybe? Even though they've kind of already established he's not starting. But then they go and say he's done nothing to hurt his position. Here you go. Struggles in the offseason program. Justin Fields may have to wait a little longer and make improvements more quickly to earn a starting job with the Pittsburgh Steelers. According to Steelers beat writer Mark Caboli, veteran quarterback Russell Wilson shined in the Steelers offseason program while Fields struggled. Quote, Wilson did nothing through 12 practices to even slightly indicate he could lose the quarterback competition to Justin Fields, Caboli wrote for The Athletic. The work ethic, the experience, the arm talent, and the fact he basically took all the first-team snaps strongly suggests that nothing Wilson can do between July 24th and September 8th would prevent him from starting. A little further down, quote, you couldn't have asked for much more out of Wilson during OTAs and minicamp, on the field and off it. His leadership is more than noticeable, and that's been true since the first day he showed up. What stood out was his arm talent, whether it was the throw in the flat or at the goal line or down the field. That earned Wilson a spot on Caboli's offseason winners list. Fields, on the other hand, ended up on the losers pile. Quote, don't get bent out of shape with Fields finding himself on this list, Caboli wrote. His talent speaks for itself, but unlike Wilson, he has a lot of obstacles to overcome for an opportunity this year. Fields didn't get many first-team reps, and that's significant coming into training camp. More than that, you can see that what made him a first-round pick and also what made the Chicago Bears move on. The arm strength, speed, and playmaking with his legs are undeniable. However, he showed inconsistent accuracy and relied on his feet too quickly after the first read. That stuff can be fixed, but not through a training camp. I added that one little bit there. That wasn't in the article. It ain't going to get fixed. These quarterback experts every second, like, oh, that's a fixable thing. There are fixable things and unfixable things, and that's one of the fixable things. So they'll fix it, and he'll be fine, and he'll be great. Really? When is somebody going to fix this guy then? Anyways, I have to laugh. The Justin Fields narrative will never stop. It'll never die. It's going to be like Colin Kaepernick. He's going to be out of the league for 5 years, and people are going to be like, give him a chance. He never had a real chance. Just let him play, man. So he's not in the league because he's bad. No, he's not bad. Just give him a chance. You guys just don't see the vision. He needs just the right coach, and you got to put him on the team with the guys, and then he's going to be great, man. It's over. It's over. Let it die. Die with some frickin' grace, will ya? Anyways, why don't we take a break? We'll come back and take a little peek-see. Actually, I don't even know if we have time. We'll take a break. We'll see what we have time for. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Have you ever experienced turbulence on a flight and wondered why?
And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything?
No, everything's peachy.
Maybe you've sat on the tarmac for hours wondering why your plane isn't moving.
Well, we're outside here. They're saying the ramp is closed. They won't let us park because of Air Force One.
Listen in on the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers on the Air Traffic Out of Control podcast.
512 Whiskey declaring an emergency. There's smoke in the cabin. I need to make a landing right now on 31 left.
We have the most interesting, wild, and funny ATC recordings you will ever hear. Check out Air Traffic Out of Control wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
All right, I tell you what, usually these interview things take a lot longer, sometimes an entire episode, so why don't we save that for tomorrow? We got plenty of time. So why don't we, let's turn it over to the calls, shall we? Kyle, talk to me, big dog.
Hey, Kyle again. I wanted to share with you an awesome story. So you actually helped me uncover a repressed memory by virtue of the conversation on After Dark. We were talking about Walter Payton and the Bears curse. And I was just daydreaming in my head about watching Walter Payton play when I was a kid. And all of a sudden I remembered, I'm going to call it a repressed memory for dramatic effect. But So my stepmom, who I love dearly, but she's a Bears fan. And that side of the family were Bears fans. And I was probably, 7 or 8 years old. Packers weren't very good in the mid-'80s. And the Bears were, they just won a championship, and they were all the rage. And I had totally forgotten this time in my life. But my stepmother and that side of the family legit had a propaganda push to try to turn me into a Bears fan. And they got me the Bears Super Bowl shirt. Do you remember those shirts? I think they maybe still make them, but in the 80s there was a lot of them where, if the team won a championship, it would be almost like a carnival caricature, airbrushed, almost like a bobblehead proportion, everybody's face on a championship shirt. They used to do them every year. And I got one of those for the Bears, and it was a cool shirt. And the Bears had some characters. I love that team, as much as I can love a team I hate.
No, I get it.
But I remember now they were trying to get me to be a Bears fan, and I was only 7. And the Packers weren't good. The Bears were great. They were exciting. And I resisted. Even at age 7, I was like, wait a second. I don't know about this. Can you imagine how much worse my life would be had a couple things not gone that way, or had I not had enough deductive reasoning skills at age 7 to conclude the Bears were still garbage despite being better? I mean, my whole life, I wouldn't even talk to any of you guys. I'd just be on one of those Barstool shows screaming at the top of my lungs how much I hate the Packers. My blood pressure would probably be, 30 points higher. So thank God that I was able to see through the BS even then. But it was a fun memory, and I had completely forgotten it. Just on a side note too, as I was thinking about Walter Payton, I was like, who are my favorite running backs I've watched? And there were so many good ones in the early 2000s. But Payton, Bettis, Priest Holmes, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Marshall Faulk have got to be probably tops of my list. I know I'm forgetting some guys there, but man, those are some fun ones. So just kind of interested in who you like to watch the most. All right. Talk to you later, buddy.
Well, first of all, very glad at 7 you had the ability to see the future as you did, because you saved your own life. And who would have known? The Packers haven't been good in forever. Bears are at their pinnacle. Life is just at its absolute worst. And it's almost like somebody gifted you NVIDIA and Amazon stock, and then you had a family member that was like, yeah, the stocks aren't looking too good. You might want to offload them while you can. And they told you that in 1997 or something. So choosing to hang on to it was the right decision. As far as running backs, man, I'm trying to think who some of my favorite were to watch. I mean, Barry Sanders obviously was unbelievable. Packers, I kind of odd, but Eddie Lacy. I just loved me some Eddie Lacy, man. Aaron Jones obviously is up there. He was such a fun guy to watch. But yeah, Sanders, trying to think. It's tough because, as time went on, a lot of times these guys, they're talented, but they just annoy me. I think about Alvin Kamara, and he was a pretty fun guy to watch. Or Le'Veon Bell, that was another really good one. Bell didn't bother me as much. Kamara was... I just have vivid memories of him hurting us, and it bothers me. But Adrian Peterson was always a good one, but again, painful. I will say, though, I think I missed a lot of the really good running backs from the running back era. I do remember watching, though, going back and watching a lot of these guys. Walter Payton was unbelievable. But I really think maybe my favorite, and obviously I'm just going back watching highlights and stuff, but maybe my favorite all-time running back that I think is really underrated. I mean, he's known, but I would say underrated because he should be up there with the tops, is Gale Sayers. Again, not to pump up Chicago. The Bears have had unbelievable players. I really don't have any issue saying that. I mean, I respect probably more Bears than any other team except the Packers. The defenses they've had, the running backs they've had, really good players. But man, go back and watch some Gale Sayers. That guy was a freak. I think if you were to just ask me, Bo Jackson, I'd probably put number 1, Gale Sayers number 2. I'm looking at some of these top lists. Gale Sayers is a lot higher than I would have expected. This one actually, I mean, granted, it's by Gil Brandt, so I expected this to be a good one, but he has Gale Sayers third behind Walter Payton and Jim Brown, so I don't necessarily hate that, with Bo Jackson 4. But yeah, I think Bo Jackson was the biggest freak that I've seen running a football, and then Gale Sayers is just, I don't know. This was a long time ago, but I just remember my jaw being irremovable from the floor.
Hey, real quick, I got into an argument with a Bears fan, which already, that sucks, because you're not really arguing just about facts. It's just, they're all in their feelings and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But this was their insult to me. Dude, Jordan Love is like Kirk Cousins. And I looked at him like, look, okay. Like, tell me that's the floor for Jordan Love is Kirk Cousins. The guy has been, admittedly, up and down to start, but, I mean, I think he's top 15 to top 10 in the last, 6-7 years, right? Not saying he's the most dynamic player, but, you're going to insult me by saying we got Kirk Cousins? That's the best you can do? Dude, the Bears they would donate a kidney for Kirk Cousins at any time in the last, in Minnesota, time playing in Minnesota, is far superior to anything that he's ever even sniffed in Chicago. Don't threaten me with a good time, Bears fans. Yes, at this point, it certainly seems like there's a lot more upside to Jordan Love than Kirk Cousins. But, if you're going to come at me with some big showstopper insult, don't threaten me that your quarterback might be a top 10 quarterback. Oh, no. I don't know. Sure, I'll sign up right now. If the floor for Jordan Love is Kirk Cousins, I'll sign up right now. I think it's quite a bit higher, but I don't know. I just thought that was a super dumb insult, and I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Anyway.
I mean, you're right. I mean, my immediate reaction to that, if I was talking to that person, would have just been to say, in what way? What do you mean? How is he like Kirk Cousins? The problem, as I'm sure you already know, is they're not going to say something smart. They're going to say something like, he's okay, but he's never going to get you there. He's not good enough, whatever. But there's not going to be anything to back it up. So what does that mean? Why are you saying, in what way? I mean, you feel the need to talk to me about Jordan Love, and then you just say random crap, and you don't back anything up. Fine. Caleb Williams is Kyler Murray. Caleb Williams is, I don't know, Justin Fields. Caleb Williams is, and then when you ask me, I don't have an answer. You know what I mean? It's a waste of everybody's time. It's such a waste of time. Let's bust all the stats out or something. Give me anything. If you got some film over there where you want to show side by sides, at least that's something. Not that it's going to matter, because you can probably show side by sides of any two people. But yeah, it's a waste of time, and you're right. The best answer is probably just to say something along the lines of, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, Cousins is pretty freaking good, but yeah, maybe that's his ceiling. I don't think anybody thinks that's his ceiling, but that's fine. You do, so there's that. Good talking to you. I don't know what to do with that. Yeah, Jordan, when he makes bad plays, looks exactly like Kirk Cousins when he also makes those same bad plays. And when he makes good plays, he looks the same as Cousins when he makes those same good plays. So there you go. Done. Nail in the coffin. Isn't really even a coffin, but that's fine. Anyways, Kyle, I appreciate you helping to kind of fill the gaps for us a little bit today. Again, tomorrow I think we'll just kick it off. We'll start it off with the interview with Brian Gutekunst, compliments of Cheesehead TV. You could always just go watch that in preparation for tomorrow if you want over at Cheesehead TV. Would have been about a week ago, I think. Anyways, you guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.